Throughout human history, there have been moments so profound that they transcend the boundaries of time and culture. These moments become more than just stories. They become powerful symbols, echoing through the ages and shaping the way we see ourselves and the world. Among these, the crossing of the Red Sea stands out as a defining event, etched deeply into the memory of countless generations. It is a story that speaks of desperation and deliverance, of fear and unwavering faith in the face of overwhelming odds. Imagine standing at the edge of an impassable sea with nowhere to turn, an entire nation facing what seemed to be the end of their journey, their hopes hanging by a thread. Yet in that moment of utter despair, something extraordinary happened, an event that would echo through the centuries as a testament to hope. The crossing of the Red Sea became a beacon for all who have ever felt trapped by impossible circumstances, a light in the darkness for those searching for a way out. It shows us that even when surrounded by enemies and obstacles, when all seems lost, a path can appear where none seemed possible. The Israelites, a people who had known only bondage and hardship, were about to witness a miracle that would change their destiny forever. The sea itself, a force of nature both feared and revered, would bend to a higher will, opening a way forward where there was none. This moment did more than just save lives. It defined a people, shaping their identity and their understanding of the divine for generations to come. Picture the scene, a terrified crowd, their freedom fragile and uncertain, the thunder of chariots growing louder behind them, and the vast, unyielding sea stretching out before them. In this crucible of despair, the impossible happened. The waters drew back, revealing a path of dry land, a miracle witnessed by all. This was not merely an escape from danger, it was a profound demonstration of power, compassion, and love, a moment that would be retold for millennia. Even today, this ancient story continues to inspire millions around the world, serving as a universal symbol of liberation, resilience, and hope. It teaches us that faith is not the absence of fear, but the courage to move forward despite it, to trust that a way will be made even when we cannot see it. The Red Sea crossing remains a timeless promise, a reminder that deliverance is always possible and that hope can shine brightest in our darkest hours. To understand the miracle, we must look back into the darkness. For 400 years, the Israelites lived under Egypt's heavy hand, defined by relentless labor. They built great cities for the pharaohs, their lives marked by suffering. Their identity was stripped away, their spirits crushed by servitude. The cries of this enslaved people rose to the heavens, prayers born of pure anguish. They longed for freedom, a concept they could barely imagine. Pharaoh, ruler of Egypt, saw the Israelites as a threat and a tool, decreeing harsher labor to break their will. The system of slavery was absolute, a prison without walls. From this deep pit of despair, the story of deliverance begins. God heard their cries and remembered his covenant, setting the stage for a confrontation between the gods of Egypt and the one true God. Their suffering was the catalyst for one of the greatest acts of divine intervention in history. Out of the depths of suffering and oppression, a leader was chosen by divine will. Moses, a Hebrew child who was miraculously raised in the opulence of Pharaoh's palace, surrounded by the grandeur of Egypt. After a moment of anger led him to kill an Egyptian, Moses fled into the vast wilderness, where he lived a humble life as a shepherd for 40 long years, tending to his flock in solitude. In the heart of the desert, amidst the silence, God called out to him from a miraculous burning bush that was not consumed by the flames. God had witnessed the deep misery and suffering of his people, the Hebrews, and was sending Moses to lead them out of the chains of slavery and into freedom. Moses, filled with doubt and uncertainty, felt utterly inadequate for the monumental task ahead. He was merely a shepherd, not a savior, slow of speech and lacking the confidence he believed was necessary for such a mission. Yet God was patient and reassuring, promising his unwavering presence and divine power to guide Moses. He equipped Moses with miraculous signs to perform, demonstrating that the true power was God's, not his own, and that he was merely the vessel. Reluctantly, yet with newfound resolve, Moses accepted the divine call, returning to Egypt to boldly confront Pharaoh and demand freedom for his people. This timeless story teaches us profound lessons about leadership, purpose, and the courage to follow a higher calling. God often chooses the most unlikely individuals to accomplish his greatest works, transforming them into heroes. It's not about our own strength or abilities, but our willingness to trust in a greater power and surrender to his will. Moses' incredible journey from a fugitive shepherd to a mighty deliverer had begun, marking the start of a new chapter in history. He was no longer just a shepherd. He had become a powerful messenger of the Almighty, carrying out a divine mission. His story is a testament to the transformative power of obedience and faith, showing us that with God, all things are possible. After 10 devastating plagues, Pharaoh relented, telling the Israelites to leave. They began their journey into the wilderness, a vast and unforgiving place. God provided a guide, a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. This was a visible sign of God's presence and direction. The cloud provided shade and the fire warmth, ensuring they were never alone. God led them on a longer route, knowing they might lose heart if faced with war. The pillar was more than a guide, it was a symbol of God's wisdom and timing. He was leading them on a path he had chosen, towards a greater revelation of his power. They simply had to trust and follow. This divine guidance was crucial for their journey. It was a daily reminder of God's unwavering faithfulness. The Israelites were not wandering, they were being led by a divine hand. The Israelites followed the pillar of cloud and fire to the very edge of the Red Sea, led by faith, but now facing what seemed like a natural trap. The vast waters stretched before them, and behind them, the endless desert offered no escape. Suddenly, word spread through the camp that Pharaoh had changed his mind. He was coming after them, not alone, but with his entire army. Chariots, horses, and soldiers thundering across the sands in relentless pursuit. Panic erupted among the people as the distant rumble of chariot wheels grew louder, echoing across the barren landscape. Fear swept through the crowd like wildfire. The people cried out to Moses, their faith faltering in the face of danger. Doubt and despair threatened to overwhelm them as they pleaded for help. Yet Moses stood as a beacon of calm, unwavering in his trust. He spoke with a quiet confidence, drawing strength from God's promise. "Do not be afraid," he commanded, his voice steady above the chaos. "Stand firm and see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see now, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." In that moment, a hush fell over the crowd as hope flickered in their hearts. This was the ultimate test, designed to strip away their reliance on their own strength and resources. They were exhausted, vulnerable, and completely out of options. They could not fight the mighty Egyptian army, nor could they flee into the impassable sea. Their only hope was to look to God for deliverance. Caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, the Israelites stood at the crossroads of fear and faith. The stage was set for God to reveal his power in a way no one could have imagined. It was a moment of total desperation, yet also of profound faith. Some wept, others prayed, and all waited for a sign. The Israelites were about to witness a miracle that would define their journey for generations to come, a moment that would be retold for centuries. They were trapped by every natural barrier, but God had a plan that would turn their greatest obstacle into their greatest victory. This was a moment that would be remembered forever. A turning point where faith met the impossible, and the impossible was about to be overcome. As the Egyptian army closed in, Moses turned to God. God instructed him to raise his staff over the sea to divide the water. The pillar of cloud moved to the back, providing light to the Israelites and darkness to the Egyptians. As Moses stretched his hand, a strong east wind blew, dividing the sea. The water piled up on either side, revealing dry ground. The seabed was not muddy, it was a clear path through the heart of the sea. The Israelites walked on dry ground, a corridor of salvation. This act was a challenge to the powers of nature and the gods of Egypt. The parting of the Red Sea was a cosmic display of divine sovereignty. It was a message that no power on earth could stand against the will of the Lord. The Israelites were witnessing a miracle that defied all logic. God was making a way where there was none. The path was a testament to God's authority over all creation. With the path open, Moses commanded the people to move forward. They walked onto the seabed, a place no human had ever walked before. The walls of water towered over them, held back by God's power. Every step was an act of trust, a journey from bondage to freedom. The ground was firm and dry, a testament to the miracle. They were leaving their old life behind, walking towards a new identity. This journey was a baptism, a washing away of their past. The Egyptians, blinded by arrogance, pursued them into the sea. They failed to recognize the path was for God's people, not his enemies. Their pursuit was a fatal miscalculation. The Israelites were walking on a path of deliverance. As the Israelites reached safety, dawn broke. The Egyptian army was in the sea, but God threw them into confusion. The wheels of their chariots came off, and panic set in. The Egyptians realized they were fighting against God. God commanded Moses to stretch his hand over the sea again. The waters collapsed, engulfing the Egyptian army. The path of salvation became a watery grave for their pursuers. The full might of Pharaoh's military was destroyed. The deliverance was complete and absolute. The Israelites watched as the bodies of their former masters washed up on the shore. The power that had oppressed them was broken. On that day, the Lord saved Israel from the Egyptians. The people feared the Lord and put their trust in him. Their journey from fear to faith was complete. In the aftermath, a spontaneous song of praise erupted. Led by Moses, the Israelites sang a song of victory. "I will sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted," they sang. "The Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation." Miriam, Moses' sister, led the women in song and dance. The shore of the Red Sea transformed into a place of joyful celebration. The sounds of fear were replaced by singing and dancing. It was the first song of a free people, a powerful expression of gratitude. The story teaches us that God hears the cries of the suffering. It shows that he intervenes to bring about freedom and justice. The song of Moses and Miriam is an invitation to trust in God's power. The God who delivered the Israelites is the same God today. The crossing of the Red Sea is a timeless promise that with God there is always a way.